got Shadow of the Red Eye.
That's awesome.
I'm excited. I'm excited to like kind of know you. It's neat to it's it's kind of neat that like I got to watch you like I over the last couple of days I've just been getting to watch you like on your show, just sort of like in the elements.
Yeah.
What I got a kick out of, man. I got a kick out of that bullwhip thing that you guys were playing
Oh,
with. That seemed like a lot
yeah.
of fun.
Yeah, what you didn't see was all the outtakes that happened. I made it look like I did just one nice little, no, that thing hurts when it hits you, let me tell you.
I can imagine.
Yeah, that was down in Florida. We actually just got back from Florida about a week and a half ago. We were down there again for another trip down there, which is awesome.
Some squatching.
Oh yeah.
So, uh, so I know that like there's tons of people who have you on their podcast. There's tons of times you've been on so many different podcasts. Like you're probably doing episodes of podcasts like a couple days a week now.
Yeah, once a week, give or
Yeah.
take.
So what's out of all those podcasts, what is the one thing you wanted to be asked and no one's asked you?
Oh man, that's a very good question. I don't know. I always try to throw like I always like when people get a little like kind of look outside the box. Like it's not my philosophy isn't like you're always, you're not I don't go out to find Bigfoot every time because that's just if you go out with that expectation, then you're going to be poorly mistaken.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
it's just like a resentment waiting to happen. You're just gonna go,
right,
but
exactly. But I go out for the simple fact that, people, it's just nice out there. And I kind of go to get away from people and into nature just to kind of clear my mind and stuff. And it's really cool when people uh, understand and respect that.
what what was the thing? What was the event that you witnessed in 2011 that
Yeah.
that
So that was
started
great.
this whole thing? What was the event?
That was down in Florida, and we were on this Bigfoot trip. So we were out looking for Bigfoot, and there was like 60 other people there. So we went out, and we didn't see anything. That it was a 3-night trip, 4-day, 3-night, and we didn't see anything the entire trip. Nothing. Uh, so that kind of stunk. So on the last night, me and my buddy Jimmy, we were watching a meteor shower. So it was pretty late at night. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and we hear like a tree knock, which is what Bigfoot are supposedly known to do to communicate in one direction. And I thought it was these people because we paid a lot of money to come to this event. So I thought it was like these people putting on the event, trying to mess with us, saying, "Oh, this is get their money's worth" type of thing. And then we hear a tree knock in the other direction, and I said, "Oh, wow, these people are pretty good." Um, and then it started happening, and then like 10 minutes later we're just sitting there. Like, this is my first time ever camping. Okay, so I was like indoor growing up, not outside at all. So yeah, first time ever camping. And a rock came through the trees, and you could hear it come through the trees. It was like a fist-sized rock, and it landed like 10 feet away from us. And that was enough for me. I was like, nope, this is how horror movies start. I'm not in this anymore. This is not cool. So I was like, my friend's like, well, if you want to grab your stuff, you're more than welcome to. And I had all my stuff in my arms. I was running to the car. Uh, but then he talked some sense into me. He's like, Mike, this is a Bigfoot thing. This could be like a possible Bigfoot. This is why we're here. So I said, okay, and over the course of the next 15 minutes, 4 more of these rocks landed within 5 to 10 feet from us. And my buddy finally was like, I'm going to throw a rock back at it. So he picks up a rock, he chucks it back into the woods. And I knew it wasn't a person at that time because a laptop sized boulder came crashing down through the trees, and it landed like 5 feet from us. So
Mm.
that was like my first experience, and that kind of got me into thinking like, oh crap, something's out there. Something's got to be out there doing this, throwing these rocks.
Mike, how old were you then?
I was 24, I believe.
Okay. He's just a smidge younger than me. Just in 2011, I was 27. So
There you go.
there's 3 years difference between us. Do you do you do you ever when you're out there squatching? Do you ever smoke weed or anything, or do you ever take any psychedelic drugs ever?
No, no, we're always sober when we're out there. After we get back to camp, some people like to have a couple beers or whatever, but
Mhm.
I always have my investigations of sober-minded people just because people
Mhm.
are going to come if we do
Oh,
see something.
there's just going to be suspicion on top of suspicion. Like you were just
Exactly. And
it's so discredited so quickly. When I started noticing, like, dude, honestly, I didn't start smoking weed till I was like 34 or something. So
mhm,
I'm pretty new to it. But I I was at a wrestling show, and the main event was I forget what it was. There was some weird psychology. There in pro wrestling. There's in ring psychology. There was some weird psychology in the in the main event, like the finish spot. It was a weird thing, and I was sitting next to one of my friends, uh, and uh, and I was like, I had just told him that I like vaped. I just told him that I had vaped some THC, and then then I give him my expert opinion, my very experienced opinion about what the psychology of that finish was and how I don't think it lined up with what made sense. And then
mhm,
the guy was like, "Ah, you're high." Like,
mhm.
so I was like, "Okay, now I'm just if ever I'm high, I'm not telling anybody
Yeah,
because because I don't want my opinions minimalized. I don't want my opinions discredited."
yeah, that's the same thing. Like in the field too, I've noticed there's a lot of people, a lot of researchers. I hate to say it a lot, but people that like to hoax like different stuff, like different tracks and videos and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And once you hoax something, you're like like once a cheater, always a cheater type of thing. So you can't come back from something like that. So I know there's a lot of people in the field that have gotten some really good evidence, but unfortunately, because of their past, boom, it's kind of in the same park as being under the influence of something. If you're you want to
What's
be
that footage? The like famous
the
the
Patterson Gimlin footage.
Patterson. Yeah, okay, the Patterson footage. Is
Mhm.
that um in in your in your videos? There was the part that was like thermal and then reenactment, and then was the reenactment part like similar to the Patterson footage?
Which
Or,
reenactment are you talking about?
oh boy, I don't remember.
If it was a recent one, it would be in High Point State Park. And what we
Mhm,
try to do with that is just with the reenactment is just try to put ourselves back into that situation.
mhm,
From what we do is from if we were talking about the same uh, video thing, I got a thermal imaging of what I think was a Sasquatch walking
mhm,
along a gas line in High Point State Park in New Jersey, and to kind of um, re we went back the next week to try to, get the same exact footage on my thermal imaging camera with me and a friend. And long story short is we couldn't do it. It was the
uh,
figure in the video was just taller than the figure than us, and we had to actually raise a stick up about 2 feet
mhm.
to be able to see where that figure was. So that's
Yeah,
kind of
I
cool.
did see the whole thing with putting arms up stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Us Bigfoot
that
researchers,
tracks now.
we like to put
Mhm,
our arms up and we like walkie
mhm,
talkies. That's the two things that you need to know about Bigfoot researchers.
mhm. Yeah, what is the the theory inside of is do we feel as squatchers that the that that Bigfoot is the Gigantopithecus thing? Like, do we feel like that's part of that like ape family,
Yeah, well,
the
everybody has a
bipedals?
different opinion. There's people that think that Bigfoot are related to like UFOs and aliens. That
Hmm.
aliens have sent Bigfoot down to kind of protect the Earth, be the protectors of the Earth. there's other lines of philosophies that Bigfoot are interdimensional and can shapeshift into different dimension of reality. That's actually a pretty popular opinion, but my opinion is that they're an actual physical being, kind of like a bear or like a squirrel or whatever,
Mhm.
and they are definitely ancient humans. I don't know if it's a Gigantopithecus or the Denisovan, which I think is probably a higher probability that lived with modern humans back in the day.
So, have you ever thought about leaving really big shoes out in the woods?
You know, so-
Because I feel like we're missing out. Like we're missing out. Like we would know if we know the traction on the bottom of those shoes, then we know what footprints to look for better. If
okay.
those shoes have disappeared, if you plant the shoes and then see if they're there a month later, and then go back
Looking for those tracks,
looking
yeah.
for those shoes or the tracks from those shoes. What size shoes?
Yeah.
You've seen the tracks. How big would you
Oh
think those
man,
shoes would be?
they gotta be size 30. I don't know. I have no idea. You got to think they're 19, 20 inches long in some cases. So that's a I mean that's a huge shoe. That's a clown shoe and some.
Well, there you go. Just leave clown shoes out there. It's like Ronald McDonald, the Sasquatch. Well, uh, what has been your full opinion on like movie depictions such as Harry and the Hendersons and any other kind of Bigfoot depictions in TV and movies?
Yeah, I mean, I think like for a perfect example, Harry and the Hendersons is a classic, and it's one of my favorite movies. And I think Bigfoot in that scenario is depicted as like a really cool, down to earth, like gentle giant, if you will, like a big teddy bear. And I think that's kind of like I would hope to imagine that's what they're like, but then you think about it in reality, they're actually an animal, and I think they do get aggravated and aggressive if need be, if you get too close to them. On the other complete other example, there's movies out there that are horror movies about Bigfoot. One is called Exists, which is if you're going out Bigfooting, you should definitely not watch it prior to going out because
What
you
about what about
won't.
that what about that one Bobcat Goldthwait put out?
Oh, you know what? I haven't seen that one. I want to watch it. I haven't gotten the opportunity to.
Let's watch it together. I want to watch it too. Uh, so you're from Northern Jersey? Are you from Sussex County?
I am. Yep. Born and raised here. I did. I lived in Tampa. Well, I lived in Florida for about 5 years and came back up to Jersey. So here we are in the armpit of Pennsylvania, New York.
A question I'm pretty fond of asking is like, uh, both parents, siblings. What was that family dynamic like for you growing up?
Oh yeah. I'm a single, only child. Uh, Parents are still together. They're downstairs listening to me now. So, so yeah, everything is a good childhood. I don't know where the Bigfoot thing came in. Especially as a child, I like I said before, I was always like inside and not outdoorsy. I had an ATV and stuff growing up, but that was just I don't know. um but then
I was always so jealous of kids that had stuff like that. So
yeah.
jelly school. I mean, like, Mom, my friends have them. You're like, oh, your friends also have two parents. Ah,
Oh
where do, where do you think the like the like the kind of like look at me the like kind of look at me whole the validation of like let me be on camera and let me be a
hmm.
public figure kind of thing came from? Like where's the attention seeking
Well,
coming from?
I don't know. That's a good question. And I always say that I don't do it. I don't put out the show for to be famous or for attention or stuff. But that's a lie because obviously I wouldn't put it out if it wasn't for something like that.
Right.
I don't know. I think I made the show because I was tired of how the TV shows portrayed bigfooting, like not real. Like that's not how you go bigfooting in most of
Mhm.
those shows. So I was tasked with, okay, now let me put out a video. Let me put out a series that shows what bigfooting's all about. And I think it's been, I put it out for me and a couple friends just to watch on the weekends, and then, have a couple beers over,
Mhm.
and now it became into this. I actually just today, we're at, let me check now. Uh, yep, there it is, 1.7 thousand subscribers.
There you go. That's more. That's way more than me.
that,
I
that literally just happened in the last like 10 minutes, so that's
cool,
awesome.
cool. That's awesome, man. I'm excited for you. But you know what's really cool about it, and something I have to make sure I state it on the record because this stuff's all outliving us. I want to make sure I say things that are on the record, so when I'm not here anymore, people can go back and hear me talk about this. Like even if like you go back and listen to this after I've passed, who knows? But what my favorite part about it is you enjoy it.
Hmm.
And and in no way would I ever want to dim anybody's shine when someone's genuinely enjoying what they're doing. And I appreciate and I love how much fun you seem to be having.
Yeah, man. It's you put your passion on, and I edit all the videos too, so it's like I have this kind of unique niche of where I love this whole bigfooting thing, and I love the video editing aspect, and it's just an amazing kind of little cross between my two backgrounds.
The music, that song that you're using, Is
Mm.
that is that is that a copy? Is there a copyright issue on that at all when you're going to put that on? Because
Yeah,
isn't that like a big song? Isn't that a pretty
yeah,
well known
actually.
country song?
Yeah, actually, it's from the Lost Trailers, and I actually spoke with them, and they're allowing me to use their music. But when you do upload them to YouTube, it comes with all that, good
Hmm.
copyright issues and stuff. So that's
Yeah,
something I haven't yet to figure out.
demonetized.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
We always say that. We always say that on my other podcast. We do a podcast about pro wrestling, and
Mhm.
like whenever anytime like there's any kind of copyright stuff, we always go demonetized.
Pretty much.
so so from 2011 to now that you've been kind of making these, and then just recently you've decided to make them a series. Have you got footage all the way like all the way dating back to 2011, or did you
Yeah,
just decide now to start recording stuff?
yeah. I started. I made the series In the Shadow of Big Red Eye in 2016. Is when I started it, and like I said, I was just kind of tired of all the shows on TV. So, and now we're filming season 7 actually, which is crazy. Never in my wildest dreams, like I said. But yeah, it's been cool. It's been a fun ride. Before filming, before the show, I went out and did all the stuff that we're doing now. It's just we didn't have the equipment nor the funding, and well, we don't have the funding now, but the
That's what I was also curious
yeah.
about that, considering that like you got that many subscribers, you got this many people who are that's their niche, that's what they're
Mhm.
into, that's what they fully fully bite that bait, they're fully inside of it and they're fully enjoying it. Like I'm wondering why someone hasn't come along and go, okay, let's just give the equipment and give the funding to make Shadow of the Big Red Eye as high production value as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I would love that. I think, that would be really cool. but it hasn't hasn't been there so far. But what's cool about it is it's filmed in this amateur way, and
Mhm.
it's kind of done on purpose. Like if I wanted to go out and buy like a really high quality, high end camera, I could totally do that. But
Mhm.
I don't, because I kind of want this series to I want the younger generation of Bigfooters to watch this and be like, "Oh man, I could do this." It's not like finding Bigfoot on TV where their whole thing is about ratings, and they have to have the best quality and the thermal drones that people have, and the bike electric bicycles and off-road bikes and stuff. It's like it's a little over the top. I mean, I just wanted to make a series that people could connect with.
Yeah, it's very raw. It's very practical, and that can inspire people like for anything. If there's anything that you want to do, effing do it, man. that's a, that's a,
Yeah.
it gives that like it gives that uh, that energy of screw shame. I'm doing what I want to do. Uh, like screw talking about it. Here I am, just doing it.
And there was a long time that I didn't tell anybody that I was in a Bigfooting, because that's kind of weird. It's not an everyday thing. And I was
Mm,
at um, I guess the younger age, and I was kind of, I don't know, just not ashamed, but just kind of weirded out by what other
mhm.
people would think.
You're
And
afraid
then
of judgment.
of course. And
Mhm.
then it got to the point where I was like, I don't even care. And like now I got my vehicles all wrapped up with vinyl. It says, the Bigfoot Mobile
Yeah,
Command
those are cool.
Center.
Those are cool.
So it's like, you can't, it went from one
Yeah.
opposite to the other. Now I'm all for it. I love
Yeah.
when people come up and tell me about their experiences when they see me drive by. It's awesome.
Well, the toll booth lady in the one that was like the what is she, the dog man or something?
Yeah, she
She's like
saw it.
me and
Yeah.
my daughter saw a dog man or something.
And there's people behind us. I'm like, I'm like, just,
There's a
I hate,
line forming. Stop
there's
killing time, lady.
I'm one that I do not like people that hold up toll plazas, and now I
Right.
know why. So,
But easy pass, man. I've had an easy pass
I've
from the
since got
start.
one. That was
What's
one of the main reasons why I got one. Yes.
it's like, don't talk to me about your dog, man. I have to. I don't want to gum up the works here. I got stuff to do. Uh, dude, those I love just chilling like that. That's just so like what I relate a lot to is when you're sitting there and it's just dark and there's fire and you're just like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
And that seems like the most fun part. But I'd probably want to drink some beers or something, which you don't want to you don't want to do that uh because then it'll be like, oh yeah, just a guy talking about getting abducted by aliens and seeing Sasquatch. Who he's the neighborhood drunk.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want that. That's the
Mm.
last thing that we kind of want to portray. Especially when it's one thing if we're out with, two or three people and whatever, but if we're out with any sort of, larger group or with film, especially like on a filming expedition, we got to be super careful.
No, when you go out and you're filming and just in the dark,
Hmm.
wh- are you not afraid of all the other animals that are out there?
Yeah,
Like, do you
that's
have like a
petrified.
crazy fear? Because I mean, like, is is there bears in Sussex County?
Actually, Sussex County has the highest density of black bear population east of the Mississippi. So yeah.
Okay.
Uh, but but it's the things that scare me in the woods are people, ticks, and spiders, and mosquitoes. Those are like my top four. Not even mosquitoes so much, but uh, it's with larger animals, you got to be really stupid to to get hurt by them. You know, it's you're not going to get attacked by a bear as long as you don't have food in your tent type of thing.
Mhm.
You know, I was camping with somebody recently, and I was like, we were in the Adirondacks, and I was like, make sure, this was like our first time camping, and we actually did a canoe trip, which is we canoed backpacked in, which is really cool. And I was like, let's make sure that we have all of our food and we hang it outside, like anything smelly, like deodorant, toothpaste, anything. So we hung everything up. And I think we just got in from squatching one night, and what she pull out of the tent, nice like protein bar, and I'm like, oh come on, that was in the tent all night. And she just pulled it out for like the next morning. I was like, but got lucky on that one, I suppose. But yeah, you guys, you could step on a snake and stuff. Florida, and it depends on where you are too. Like Florida has a lot more things to be concerned about.
Gators,
Yeah, yeah,
and
gators, a lot more
lizards,
snakes.
and
Yeah,
they got those like flying roaches in Florida,
yeah,
the
yeah. There's some
palmetto bugs.
palmetto
Do,
bugs,
do,
absolutely. Yeah.
do you carry a weapon? Do you carry a weapon with you when you're out squatching?
No, I used to carry bear mace, and then
Mhm.
we had an incident, and I don't carry bear mace anymore. So the only thing I carry is a knife.
What was the incident?
Yeah. So so we were driving, and my buddy was driving. We were in the Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area, and we were driving out to this area that it's a power line cut that we really wanted to investigate. And I was sitting in the back seat of his Jeep, and I kind of like adjusted myself, and I always carried bear mace on my belt as kind of like a safety measure.
Mhm.
uh, and it always had the safety on. The zip tie was tied. Always had the safety on. I just shifted and adjusted, and it sounded like a fire extinguisher went off. And I said, "Mike, why is there a fire extinguisher?" And before I could finish the sentence, it
You
was
couldn't breathe.
couldn't breathe. It couldn't breathe. You couldn't see. They he they almost flipped the Jeep trying to get out and trying to stop. And there's actually it's one of the people actually videotaped it. It's up on the YouTube channel. You could see us, on the side of the road coughing, and it was horrible. So yeah, we don't carry bear mace anymore. I actually someone just on the trip I was on had bear mace, and I was like, oh man, I got instant like heebie-jeebies from it.
Are you into like a lot of comedy movies? Would you know of the movie Orgasmo if I was talking to you about it?
No,
It was made
no, I
by
wouldn't.
the guys who made South Park.
Oh, okay.
And there's this one. It just made me think of it when you were like, not doing that no more. Like, like when he was like, the guy was like, oh yeah, I stopped doing that a long time ago. And then it cuts back to him as a kid when he's like sitting at the breakfast table eating cereal, and he goes, hey dad, I don't think I'm gonna study hamster style anymore. And the dad was like reading the newspaper and was like, all right. And then it cuts back to him and he's crying. He's like, I can still smell that newspaper. So are you a pro wrestling fan at all?
I used to be. I used to be in the WCW back in the day, in the WWF.
Yeah.
Juventud
Ooh,
Guerrera. That was my
yeah.
man.
The juice.
Oh yeah. Who?
He's like, yeah, into like cruiserweights and stuff back then.
Yeah. I mean, I was more into. I was that was my younger kid days, so I was into uh, I guess the drama of it all.
Yeah. Do you feel like you grew out of pro wrestling?
I do in a way. I was so into it. I used to have like we called them Michael Manias. And
Okay.
I would dress up as like a wrestler, and it would be for my birthday, and all my family would come, and I would wrestle all my family and stuff. So yeah, I was into it back then.
Well, I mean, might be time to start trying again, man. It's a, it's
Yeah.
a whole, it's cyclical, man. It's like at this time, it's like it seems like pro wrestling, and I'm speaking from somebody who's a fan of pro wrestling
Mm,
and somebody who's kind of in the business, but uh, it's right now it's such a unique time, like more of a unique and more inclusive time in pro wrestling than there's ever been, and you can suspend your disbelief to get wrapped up in that drama,
mm,
and it's just it's an escape. You know what I
hmm.
mean? It's like I remember watching wrestling as a kid. The late '90s was when I really kind of got into it, and it was like, okay, well, it's an escape from the fact that home isn't the best, and I'm not, we don't have a lot of food, and we don't have a lot of stuff, and we're just kind of going by. But you can kind of immerse yourself in these storylines, and sort of just those like moments are still memories that I carry with me into my late 30s now.
Yeah, yeah, that's neat. It's very cool.
So maybe I'll suggest some matches for you to check out.
There you go. All right, I'll check
Uh,
them out.
we'll give you a little bit of homework assignment.
Love it.
So I want to give kind of almost like I was doing earlier when I said, like, giving you the opportunity to answer a question that you hadn't been asked, that you had wished you'd been asked. But now I want to give you the opportunity to maybe ask me any questions or tell me anything that you'd like to tell me.
All right, what's your belief on Bigfoot? Where do you stand on that spectrum?
Uh, I'm not all the way one way or the other about it. It's I think it's it's mystic. You know what I mean? And I've had such a mystic existence.
Hmm.
Everything we do is magic and mystic, and I think that's just an extension of it. So I don't disbelieve, but I'm not fully I'm not fully into the whole, like, that's all the way what's happening. But I haven't seen the same evidence that you've seen. I haven't felt the
Hmm.
feelings that you've felt. So I come from a place of, I guess, ignorance
Hmm. Yeah,
of that existence.
sure, sure. No, that makes sense. That's a respectable answer too. I appreciate that. What would it take you to believe? Would you have to see one? Would you have to see footprints? Would you like what would it take for you? Would you have to like hear one?
I don't know. You know what? I don't know. I think it would just have to be. I think it would have to be. It would just have to be something something real life, like a real time kind of thing. So it could be a sound, it could be a footprint, it could be any of those things, but it would be me experiencing it
Mm,
in
yeah,
in real life, like right in real time.
sure, sure.
But
Cool.
I could see me, being in that world. I mean, I could just add it to the multiple lists of things that I do.
Yeah.
Keep it inside of the multifaceted evolving process.
I love it. Um, yeah, that's awesome, man.
That's it. Like, look, see this thing right here, this evolution chart thing. I mean, well, it might keep continue. You know what I mean? It might continue and be just human. I mean, I kind of have some theories about. I kind of have some theories about uh, time travel. I love the idea of time travel and just kind of like alternate dimensions and alternate universes. I just love that kind of stuff. So how could I be like, oh yeah, I kind of believe that stuff, and then be like, I don't believe that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
You know,
and I
it's
would
it's
not judge anybody for their beliefs of it or their pursuit of it, because for sure that brings you joy, and I love that for you.
Yeah.
I love that for everybody if anybody finds anything that brings them joy, I love it. So
Yeah.
like my whole life, everyone said, "Oh, pro wrestling's not real." I'm like, yeah, but I love it.
Don't matter. Yeah.
It's what I am, and you're not going to stop me from loving it by saying it's not real. Like, I don't freaking know it's real, you idiot. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I find it funny how like I think it's like 60% of the United States population believes in ghosts and the paranormal,
mm,
and but only like 29% believe in Bigfoot. So it's like you could believe you could believe that something, could be, look at something transparent beside your bed, but you
mhm.
don't believe that there could be an 8 foot tall bipedal primate walking around the forest. I think that's just, those numbers are kind of interesting and funny.
I I would say like I'm pretty like I want to believe in everything, but I
Mm.
at the same time I'm pretty nihilistic about certain things, and I'm pretty like, oh, I've never had a paranormal experience, and I don't know. And then everything I do, I go, what doesn't matter anyway. And then pro wrestling has taught me that everything's a work. Everything is like a manipulation of emotions, and everything's a storyline. It's like I was taught to channel that. I was taught to channel that and uh there's a comedian, there's a comedy podcast, I'm sorry, a documentary about stand-up comedy, and Jeff Foxworthy in it, he talks about how like th- through the day thoughts just pass in through your brain, and as comedians it's our job to catch that thought, polish it off, and show it to you. And I feel like mix that with everything I'm hooked on has to do with like gratification and validation and sort of the adrenaline rush of like a crowd reaction.
Mm.
And that's what's it's funny when I think about like the early 2000s. The early 2000s were filled with unprotected chair shots for me and concussions all the time.
Oh
Like
no.
and and when I think back about it, I'm like, bro, that got me hooked. That got me hooked on the immense reaction from an audience, and that makes me go like, do I sit around and regret that stuff? Do I sit around and like feel bad about having those experiences? No, those experiences all kind of made me who I am,
Yeah.
and it really
Every
kind of
every experience
contributed.
make yeah, every experience makes you a part of who you are now for sure. 100%.
Oh, bro, I'm getting all these like rashes. I don't know where this is coming from.
Uh-oh, that's not good.
I'm getting attacked. I'm gonna get attacked by creatures in my sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, you got COVID.
I don't think so. What if Sasquatch is the spreader?
There you go. The super spreader. That's
Super
the event, Sasquatch.
Sasquatch puts on uh
He just
he
breathes
puts
COVID.
on shredder's gear with the with mask, and he's like super spreader shredder. Super He's the same size as Super Shredder from Ninja Turtles 2. So what have you been watching lately? What's your go-to shows these days?
Yeah, I watch one of the shows that I really like is The Secret of Skinwalker, or The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. I think is a good show. That's on the
Hmm.
History Channel. Curse of Oak Island's really cool. I love Judge Judy. She's my favorite. Cops and stuff like that, all the good stuff.
My one of my good friends was on Judge Judy once.
No, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
he like went on this blind date with this lady who he met on Tinder or something, and like she didn't look like her pictures. Surprise. And well, we're from Philly. We're from Philly, and I guess they had decided before meeting up that they were going to go together to Atlantic City, and they went to Atlantic City, and while they were there, she was like shaming him for like not having a college education and like just kind of like being a stuck up bitch to him.
Mm, right.
And he was like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking leave. I'm just gonna ditch this. I'm just gonna ditch this girl. So he got in the parking garage and got in his car, and then the girl came out in the parking lot and started like smashing up his car.
Oh my God.
So that girl apparently had some connections in LA and like had some connections with Judge Judy, and somehow she decided like
Oh,
somehow she brought Nick on Judge Judy, and it was like somehow like he was supposed to be getting he was trying to be getting the money for the damages on his car,
right.
and
Sure.
and and Judge Judy really did not like my friend at all. He's like he was like, yeah, she didn't look like her pictures. She was fat and like he was like kind of like not making the best impression. And she was speaking to him, and he was like, and she's like, "Close your mouth, Mister Burke." He was just trying to listen to her. I guess
Yeah.
he
That's
said he couldn't
great.
hear, but yes, all have our run-ins with reality TV. I I think I'd like to have a reality TV show as well.
What would your show be about?
Well, I've kind of always wanted to have I'm a huge fan of documentaries about stand-up comedy.
Oh, okay.
I love that genre. So I'd love to have a docu series that documents my pro wrestling career and my stand-up comedy career, and me doing podcasts, and then just kind of like make that and make the arcs that exist, the arcs that
Mm.
form, and I dramatize it up because people gotta see drama. Just make up problems to have. He said. Well, what an episode it would be if like earlier today, you and I were supposed to be on here at a certain time, and I was driving around town because I left my wallet in my friend's car. Well, that's the results of 30 plus concussions.
I guess wrestling will do that to you, no?
Yeah, I got a I got like a sick cracky
Oh,
jaw. Like
oh, I hear it.
I can't really I've been punching my face. I've been fake punched in my face my whole life. And wrestling's fake. But it's all stuff that I think not just that. I would love to play like are you watching Stranger Things?
Mm-mm, no.
Oh, that's a rad show, dude. I think you'd dig it. But there's like a long-haired stoner character. I've always wanted to play a long-haired stoner character in something like um like I'm picturing like a sitcom, right? Like
Mm.
Step by Step. Remember Step by Step? The
Hmm.
like the like cousin who like lived in the van in the driveway. I've always wanted to play a character that like that's like whoa, like just kind of an idiot, but like sweet, and that like he means well.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna have a reality series around me trying to get myself cast in a sitcom. Get the notepad out, folks. We're really making things happen right now. So, what's your opinion on Ghosts and Aliens?
Yeah, so I went on a little ghost adventure one time, and we caught something on the SLS camera, which is, I guess it's called a structured light sensor camera. So it's really weird. I don't know. I've seen it on TV. Um, and I'm not really into it. Same way with aliens. I've seen on Bigfoot expeditions. I've seen two things that I can't explain in the sky. And the one actually it was in Sussex County in High Point State Park, and it came right before, like 15 minutes before, like a really good Bigfoot vocalization.
Mhm.
So, people are like, "Oh, they're connected then. It's gotta be enough evidence that shows you that their UFOs and Bigfoot are connected," but it's just not enough for me.
Uh, Now, evidence. I mean, like
Well,
those are
that's
just
not
kind of things
evidence.
that happen sort of close to each other, right? But I could see how those things could seem connected.
Yeah, sure, sure, that can correlate with, but, you spend enough time in the woods and you're gonna see stuff. That's just, the nature of the beast.
The big-footed beast, the red-eyed beast.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I hate to say it, but I'm gonna if I get really good evidence of Bigfoot, it's gonna look like, just like if you were under the influence of something. If the Bigfoot researcher gets the best evidence, it's like, oh man, come on now, he's got to be doing something. So it'd be interesting if I did get some good footage.
Do you think like all of the people who've ever been Bigfoot researchers, uh, do you think any of them have like the kind of evidence that you plan on that like you ideally would like?
Oh,
You think
absolutely.
you've seen
Yeah.
you've seen more like hard evidence than you've ever captured on your own?
Yeah, I'm sure that there's proof of Bigfoot out there. It's just in the hands of somebody that doesn't want, for some reason, people to know about it, if you will.
Do you watch Rick and Morty?
I used to.
Yeah, I love Rick and Morty. I love like that seems like that just made me think of the part when he was like, oh, the monster in the Kennedy dungeon, the Kennedy sex tunnels below the White House.
Mm,
Is all that like stuff that it's confidential. It's
yeah,
big time confidential. Uh,
big time. Yeah, I don't know, and it's possible that that's not true as well. It could be there's no such thing as Bigfoot out there. I don't know. I'm sitting at 70% that I think there's a Bigfoot out there. Like I'd be more surprised if Bigfoot wasn't out there. But I don't know for sure. Nobody does. I mean,
mhm,
unless you have that evidence that you're hiding.
mhm. But you've seen other Bigfoot researchers evidence that's that's kind of pushed you in the towards the 70.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just heard something a couple weeks ago. I was down in southwestern Pennsylvania at a Bigfoot expo, and one of my researchers from West Virginia, one of my friends, he showed this or played this vocalization for me that he captured, and it was just like out of this world. And you can only imagine how many other researchers, or not even researchers, but people in general, have evidence of these Bigfoots or Bigfoot type creatures. And
Would multiple Bigfoots be called big feet?
I think so. I think that's the running standard is big feet.
The running shoes standard, big feet. But, this is so there. I didn't realize that there was expos for Bigfoot researchers.
Big time, yeah. I
Yeah.
just got back
Yeah.
from one in Forest County, Pennsylvania, which is in the middle of the Allegheny National Forest, and there was a lot of people there. I think they hit the 20,000 people mark there.
Wow.
Yeah,
Whoa. Do you set up a table? Do you
yeah,
get
yep.
get to
So
mingle with folks?
so that's what I think you were getting at before is kind of like the finance part about it. Like how do I support myself? And that's
Mhm.
I go to these events and I sell decals, stickers, and jewelry, kind of
Oh,
Bigfoot, all
okay.
the Bigfoot related, and
Okay.
that supports the gas money. And well, as much as it can,
Well,
you know.
gas
Yeah,
prices
now,
are
nowadays, yeah. So,
yeah,
but it helps
kind of tough.
offset the costs of expeditions and stuff like that. So, I got one in 2 weeks down in West Virginia, which is going to be a big one too. So,
Man. That's rad. That's super cool. I didn't realize it was um, so popular. I mean, you know what? I probably did realize it, but like, you know, um, something being brought to your attention that it's weird, man. Because I I think about I think about pretty often wanting to become a draw myself, wanting to make sure when I'm doing an event, then an audience will show up.
Hmm.
And then I start thinking about how like, oh, like, well, my audience for my podcast isn't even that big yet. But um, when I picture like 20, 30, 40,000 people, um, 20, 30, 40,000 people show up to nothing. You know what I mean? 20, 40, 30, like to stuff that's like NASCAR gets, if people
Yeah.
show like that packs buildings, uh, like rodeo packs you know what I mean? Like, and uh, it's not even a thought, it's not even a thought that like, whoa, this is a lot of people. It's just like, yeah, this is just regular
Yeah.
monster jam, big trucks,
Hmm.
and everybody shows up, and then I go and I perform at wrestling shows, and like
Yeah.
200 people show up. I'm like, man, why isn't like why isn't like thousands of people showing up here to these
Yeah.
buildings?
Yeah,
But
that's true. That's that's very accurate.
so it's that I have to like destigmatize destigmatize that a lot is too much. Like like change what my standards and redefining the next level on what drawing a crowd is and what getting an audience is. So I just basically, and I think the same thing with uh, the subscribers that you have. I think that got to you've got to display that you have something of value to the people who
Absolutely.
want to spend the currency of effort. And I constantly say on here, and I don't, stop me if you heard me say it before, but I'm so grateful for the currency of effort that anyone's given me, because the fact that like you're doing this with me right now, you could be doing anything else at all. Like I'm not competing with other podcasts. I'm competing with everything else. There is everything else. You could be watching anything. You could be reading anything. You could be listening to anything. So the
Hmm.
fact that like you can't just turn the radio on and then like I'm on. Like you can't just turn the TV on and I'm there on live TV. You have to like really go out of your way. So
Hmm.
the fact that people go out of their way, and especially if they go out of their way to seek it and then continue to pay that currency of effort and attention the whole time, I just have so much gratitude for all that. And I feel like gratitude attracts abundance.
I love it. Absolutely. You're right. And I always say that, I always thank my viewers. You have to, because if it's not for them, you wouldn't do it, right? You wouldn't have a podcast. You wouldn't have a wrestling show, or do wrestling if nobody came and saw it. That would decrease the value of it. That wouldn't make things worth it.
Well, I mean, I've had few episodes where like nobody, like 3 or 4 people listen to them.
Well, that's all right.
But this is the reason I have the drum. You see this drum? This is symbolic. This is ceremonial to me, because I feel like as long as I'm consistent in my gratitude and my message and my effort, like as long as I beat this drum, no one's gonna beat this drum the way I beat this drum.
Mm,
Nobody else in the world has the same aspect and perspective of anything, or has lived any way that you have. Other people have similar experiences than you, but nobody has the exact same ones. No one's seen life through your eyes. No one's experienced the things that you experience. So when it comes to going like, oh, I believe or don't believe, it doesn't even matter. It's like I I I really recognize that you're true in your intention and your belief and your love for what you're doing, and that's why I just want to uh, hold you up. You know what I mean? I just want to pull you up, and even if my platform isn't huge enough to make any kind of difference, I I want to make sure that like this is time stamped for me. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? Like everything I do on the record here, this is all time stamped for me, so I can be like, hey, this is just the start. You know what I mean? Like what is gonna happen? What is gonna happen when either one of our shows like blows up and gets huge? Or like what's gonna happen when like the real budgets come in? Or you know what I mean? Like when shit gets when shit gets real big. Right now, the stakes aren't as high. So like mis- making mistakes isn't as big of a deal. The consequences are not as dire as when the stakes are real high. So I feel like this is practice for that. So if no one's paying attention now and no one's listening now, I mean, even though there are some people paying attention and listening, but there could be moments when there's none.
Hmm.
And I just want to make sure I'm as true with my message of growth and the whole like evolving isn't just called it's not the show's not evolving with Corey Castle because I'm Corey Castle and I'm the host. It's like evolve with me. Like start from the very beginning of when I started doing this in 2017 and listen back. You'll hear that I was a totally different guy back then.
Mm.
And hopefully, I'll continue doing this for the rest of my life, and I'll listen back to this one and be like, wow, listen to the type of dude I was then.
Right. Yeah.
And
100%.
I think that's what's also cool about what you're doing and catching on the record the experiences that you're having and putting them online, putting that effort out there to like say, hey, I want to share with whoever might be interested
Sure.
the things I'm interested in, the things that I love, and I think I'm going back to the you're having fun doing what you're doing.
Yeah, man. It's it's cool because you do look back at it, and I look back at like season one and stuff, and even like not even as me as a person, but even just like something as simple as like my editing skills and how much
Mhm.
they've evolved throughout the years is
Right?
just
Yeah.
absolutely, it's just absolutely crazy. Um, but yeah, man, I appreciate you acknowledging the trueness and the happiness and the fun that I do have because
Yeah,
a lot of people don't see that.
it's genuine and uh, I love that and especially coming from my world of this thing that everyone says is fake. It's like, yeah, learn to have fun, you big grouch. Like, learn,
Yeah, why are you trying to rain on everybody's
yeah,
parade?
what,
I get
just
it.
participate in this beam of light and joy. Uh, be inside of joy. Joy, in joy. Be that. So, like, w- I, I don't see a reason to dim anybody's shine. I don't see the reason to yuck anybody's yum.
I like that. Yuck anybody's yum.
I have just a couple other things for you, and then I'll send you off into the sunset with a hot dog and a handshake. Okay, I have this segment that I do on here where I call it audio time travel.
Okay.
We were just talking about timestamps and what you go and you evolve to when you go and you look back. I'm gonna say 20 years into the future, the people who love you the most, your biggest fans, your dearest family, your loved ones, stumble across this recording and they want to hear a message directly time stamped in 2022. that's going to hit them in 2042? What message are you giving to them? And you're speaking directly to those individuals. What message are you
Yeah,
giving them?
man, that's a good one. You know, it's near and dear to my heart is don't, you know, no matter what, don't stop doing what you're passionate about because of anybody saying anything about it. You know, keep doing, you know, no matter what, just keep doing what you love and keep make doing your passion.
Did you ever see Talladega Nights?
Hmm.
He's like, when what was the other guy? Cal Naughton Jr. He like won for the first time, and they gave him the trophy on a technicality. And he's like, when he won it, he was like, I know I won it on a technicality, but if you try to take this away from me, I'm gonna punch you right in your face. That's the vibe I got from you saying don't, if somebody tries to take your passion away from you, punch him right in the face.
That's what you do,
Yeah.
100%. So even that message to me in 2042, I'm gonna listen to that and be like, okay, because there's gonna be something then and there, you know,
Hmm.
and this will be worth it.
Do you think by 2042 you're definitely going to have better evidence? And this will
Yeah,
be funny to listen back to be like, oh shit, I
yeah.
didn't I didn't have shit compared to what I got now.
I think well, that's valid. I think Bigfoot is going to be found within the next couple years. If Bigfoot's out there, Bigfoot's going to be found within the next couple years.
You think
And go ahead.
you, you think we could teach him how to wrestle? You think we'll teach him how to work?
He would
Teach
be
him
a good
how to be a
wrestler.
good professional wrestler?
Yeah, no
The
kidding.
Yeti. I think that was a WCW gimmick. But
Back in the
uh,
day.
so hypothetically, I've gifted you this show. This is the way we wrap up every time. Hypothetically, I've gifted you this show. Uh, I kind of did it a little bit earlier when I kind of gave you the floor and I said, ask me anything or tell me anything you want to say to me. Uh, I I can continue with that if you have anything else you want to ask or say.
Yeah, I no, I mean, I would just no, keep going.
Okay. Well, normally what I'd say is the way we wrap it up is I would ask the guest or the new host of the show. This is your first episode, the pilot episode of Evolving with Mike. You're gonna give your very Jerry Springer's final thought type of wrap it up in a pretty little bow. All the best takeaways, all the most valuable stuff that's gonna inspire us to be a better version of ourselves as we are of ourselves tomorrow than we are today. And in your best Jerry Springer's final thought,
All
how you
right.
wrapping it up?
Mike's final thought is um you take a person, somebody that believes in Bigfoot and the Loch Ness monster has a far superior life than someone that doesn't. So just think about that and let that sit with you for a second. Because if you don't believe in some amazing stuff like that, then you really got to evaluate your lifestyle and your thought process.
Yeah. What happened to you that you lost your wonder?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. Where did that go?
Where did it go? You've been so jaded.
But it's true though. It's a true statement.
That's that. You think that would be that's your full final thought
I don't know,
on
you
all?
know, I don't know if there's you can't prove that something doesn't exist. I don't know. That'd be like my electric chair blurred out. It's just,
What about
uh,
what about the Bible and Jesus and stuff like that? Or what do you believe in that kind of stuff?
I'm spiritual. I have like a agnostic kind of belief. I think there's definitely a higher power out there.
Normally, that probably should have been a question I asked way earlier. You go, hey, we wrapped it up. Now I've asked you what you think of Jesus.
Yeah.
Do you do any impressions of anything? Do you do any impressions of anyone?
No, no, I am terrible at impressions.
I had this. I had this. My friend Renee. I had him on the podcast, and we sat and we watched the second episode of Alf. We watched the second episode of Alf to see like what the follow up to the pilot was like. The show got picked up from the pilot. If it
Mm.
like if it was like is this still like good or is this gonna be bad? So we watched it on here, and then I started doing this thing where I was like, oh, I'm gonna get everybody to do impressions of Alf at the end of the show and say, oh, good boy, hey Willie, right? And I was gonna try to get everybody to do that, but then a good chunk of people maybe are too young to know what Alf is.
Mm.
So I started then just saying, what impressions do you do? And getting people to then do impressions and wrap up the show. And the way I always wrap it up by saying the catchphrase, be fun, have safe, keep evolving.
Be fun, have safe, and keep evolving. I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. I
And
would do an impression, but I couldn't even attempt.
I did an impression of me. It was an impression of me.
There you go.
Then I just want to say, um, while we're still on the record, I want to make sure I tell you, man. I, I'm glad we're friends now. And if there's ever a moment in time when you feel like you just need a friend, you need some judgment free conversation, don't ever feel like you're alone. You can reach out to me. I'll chat with you. And that message goes for anybody who's listening. If this is your first time checking out the show, uh, you can get in touch with me. I'm not a hard person to get a hold of.
That's all.
I'll respond to messages. I'll respond to all messages, and I will judge you 0% because, man, we need we need to be kinder to each other. We need to be kinder to ourselves. We need to love and evolve. If this is your first time joining the show, check out the other 200 and how many episodes now? 273 episodes. 200. Check them out. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you follow. Make sure you follow Mike's channel. I'll put all that links in the description. Be fun. Have safe. Keep evolving.
Awesome.
Where's the mouse?